Hey, Big Head. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about leadership and what it means to be a leader and how that looks to me. And I just want to get on here and share a brief experience. I'm going to leave my YouTube link in the bio. I do make videos on YouTube, and I will let you guys know in regards to that, how that went down. But oh my goodness. Leaders are people who have self-control. We hear the word discipline so much, but discipline is really just self-control. You know what I mean? Like if we could just break it down and stop, really trying to put discipline in this space where it's something that's outside of you, right? Like, oh, I need to practice to be more disciplined. No, you just need to control yourself, right? Like that's what discipline is. Discipline is self-control. It's not controlling anything externally. It's controlling you and how you feel and how you think and what you do and what you don't do, right? So I talked to you guys about race and, this has been a big thing for me. And I kind of want to touch on this too, because I really do believe that geographically, it makes a difference where you are in the world. It really makes a difference where you are in the world. If you're in the world and you're in a small town like myself that is predominantly one particular race, right? And if you're in a particular town where it's predominantly, it doesn't necessarily have to be white, whether it's black, whether it's white, whatever. You are limited to certain experiences. And so I'm very thankful that I have had the ability to travel. I'm very thankful that I've had the ability to branch out, explore the world, have different conversations, right? I talked to you guys about how I had a black therapist and having a white therapist and, those experiences in itself. It was a little bit more than just my own personal healing. I honestly, I was really intrigued by the idea and the intention, rather, of having a relationship with a white person. I remember when I was young, I tried to do the whole therapy thing and I was like, I don't trust you. And I remember telling my therapist, I said, well, she was a counselor. I don't know if she was a therapist, but I said, I never had a white person do anything nice for me. She said, oh, really? Yeah. And it was like it was a very jaw dropping thing for her. The conversation was like totally meddled out. But I think that we have to recognize that when you are in a space geographically, you have different experiences. You do. And I speak to those global issues, too, because we understand that race and discrimination is not just necessarily a geographic or state to state issue. We know that it is something that is widespread all over the world. Right. So I recently had an experience and I just this is my biggest thing with people. And this is where I think for myself, this is where I draw the line. I am a leader. I am a leader and I am a born leader. When I would try to follow the crowd, I tried one time and I got into a fight. I got beat up. And that was the moment I knew that I could never be like anybody else. That was such a hard lesson for me to learn in regards to that that was a hard way for me to learn. Right. It wasn't a hard lesson. It was a hard way to learn. Like getting beat up was that was tough, right? Like I wish I would have got it another way, but I'm thankful for that because all the times I've ever tried to go in a direction that wasn't true to myself, I was hit with like bricks. Like it was like absolutely not. That was never destined for me. And I talked to you guys a little bit about my history and my career and the things that I've done. And there have been often times where I am in a position and I'm on the back end, right? I never really felt comfortable being a server. I never felt comfortable doing those things. And it wasn't a matter of ego. And I feel like, oh, I just don't deserve to be there. Right. I knew very early on what I wanted. And even when I didn't have the big picture and even, understanding that it comes in phases and visions and, all of those things. And I knew that I had to get a certain skill set. I knew who I wanted to be in the world. I always knew that. And so, when it came to certain experiences, I was very willing to take the back seat because I said, I want to learn. I'm here to learn. If I could just get in the room, I'm with that. And it got to a point in my life where I realized that it was no longer time for me to sit in the back seat and that it was time for me to get in the driver's seat and actually go ahead and spearhead a lot of these things. I think that when it comes to the employment crisis that the world is facing, it's a larger issue. It's more than wages. I think people need to understand that. People don't understand because, well, typically people who are in control they don't have these experiences. I'm very, very thankful for my life. I cannot stress that enough. But typically, when you're on the front end and you're in these large corporations, you went to college, you met an investor, that's how you did your thing, right? Or but you didn't really live the life of an employee. You didn't really live the life of, you know what I mean? And I think there are some people who, of course, have, and they probably run some very fabulous establishments, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that every person who's in position, right, has never had a season of humility. Like, of course not. But I really do believe there's something said about having things handed to you. And I believe there's something said about going straight to the top. And I encourage everybody to really take their time with their business, with everything they want to do. Let God cultivate you, right? Oh, man, I'm so poetic. I don't even know how that just rhymed. But seriously, let God cultivate you. I realized for myself, being a woman, being a Black woman, the racial profiling, the stereotypical thing, it's so exhausting, right? It's this idea that we are dominant. It's this idea that we are aggressive, we are angry, we are problematic, we are difficult, we are bitter. It's so frustrating. It really is. And it's so stigmatizing in so many different ways, right? But I really don't care. I'm going to break out of that. I break that every single time, right? And so I had an experience where I worked someplace for one day. And, what I experienced was something so distasteful. My manager was so rude, so condescending. He made me feel that small. You know what I mean? And I wanted to cry because I think this is, it's so much more than that experience for me. In that moment, it was definitely very heartbreaking, right? Like as a woman, yeah, maybe I'm emotional, but I think it's more so just for so many women, so many Black women, so many women, you know what I mean? Like just the way we were treated oftentimes on jobs, how people perceive of certain men, it's so disgusting. And I love this because I use these things as leverage to never be that person. And I think when you're a good person, there's just something about God's favor over your life, and this is not a matter of being a good person, but it's just, loving people, keeping God's commandment, being somebody who's kind, being someone who's not ill-intended. It's just, there's a lot of peace that I have in that. But yeah, I wanted to cry. I was really, really saddened by how he treated me and how he spoke to me. It was crazy. I never experienced anything like that. But these are the times, right? These are the times. I think that this will eventually be called kind of like the workers' revolt. I don't know. I don't think people are really doing jobs anymore. I know a lot of people think, oh, it's the PPP loans or it's the scammers, it's the stimulus checks. I haven't even got stimulus checks, so I don't even know what's going on that back end for me. But I want to talk to you guys about that too, because I think that there's an illusion around that. It's so much more than just wages. I will gladly go work at a gas station versus work at the restaurant in which I was at. And it was Jeff Ruby's. I would gladly go work at a gas station for $10 versus working there and dealing with that. That was ridiculous. And I don't think people realize that oftentimes in places of establishment, people will see Black people and they will think, oh, they're just servers. That's what they do. Well, no, it's because, when you're Black and you get in a position of management, the pressure is on. You see this manager your whole time making this look so easy, doing things halfway, cutting things off. And then you get in a position and the responsibility that is placed on you is crazy. And I kind of want to touch on this too, because I know a lot of mixed kids have this opportunity where they get to play both sides, and I'm not, hey, look, that's your life. Like, what do I know? That's your life, so I'm never gonna, I don't have anything to say in regards to that per se. I'm not gonna say too much in regards to that, let me say. But it's a real thing, man. It's a real thing. And so I think sometimes even if you are mixed, like maybe you don't even understand it. You know what I mean? Like, and I can't even say, because here's the thing, you guys. What I'm saying is that there are just some experiences that can literally you can only go through. You know what I mean? Like if you're Black, if you like, that's just some stuff you can only go through. And, I'm not doing this whole colorism thing. We're not doing that, but we are going to address the fact that oftentimes if you're mixed or if you look a certain, like you have an advantage, you have a leverage that you do play and that you will use to your benefit. And you don't always sit and be in spaces with Black people. So, and I'm not saying that you should, right? Because clearly you are Black and white. So, but I don't want to go too far left in regards to that. The things that I see today, the things that I see in the world, it's crazy to me, but it's like a workers' revolt. And I don't think people realize that it's not due to wages. It's due to those who are in management, right? This is the problem. This is the problem in itself. And so something that also upsets me is when I see a lot of people who want to be leaders and who want to be in positions of leadership, which is fine. Like being a leader is fine. But I really don't believe that leaders are cultivated. I believe that leaders are born. I really do. I believe that leaders are born. I think that it's, I share my experiences. I share, the things that I've been through in my life. But I really believe I was born a leader, and I know a lot of people tell you, oh, you can learn how to be a leader. You can read the books. You can do the coaching. That's not true. And I think the moment that we stop giving out all this false information, and we start telling the truth, I think that it'll really open the eyes of a lot of people, because it's disheartening me to see people who have some incredible visions, and, because of the stigmas and the things that are being said in regards to a certain community, right? I'm going to just say the Black community, how it is. Sometimes, we don't have that level of community. We don't have that level of connection. And that's disheartening to me, because everybody want to be top dog when everybody is not top dog. So, there's been times where, you have a vision and you have something amazing that you want to do, and people have a hard time getting on board because they feel like, oh, we are entitled to the same thing. And we're not. We're not. People don't understand. Like, there's a price you pay to be in leadership, to be an excellent leader at that. So this isn't a matter of ranks. This isn't a matter of putting anybody over anybody. We're all valuable at the end of the day. But I think there really is something said about it. There's something said about leaders. There's something said about people who really should be in position. And it just breaks my heart to see that so many people who should be in position are not in position because of societal limitations, So this here is so much bigger than what people are making it out to be. And I'm going to leave that there. And I hope everybody has an amazing night. I've had a very interesting night. I'm just, I just pray, always pray, that the Lord be with me. Because, man, it's crazy. But I'm always thankful for closed doors, because I feel as though a lot of the things that I've prayed for, the courage, the things that I need, it's nothing more than preparation, So you're very thankful for those times. So, all right, guys, I know it was brief, but yeah, it's real. So hope everybody has a great day, and I'll leave you guys with your thoughts.